You never want to get to the end of your life wishing that you did more, and there's nothing that you can do about that. Time just goes, and just each day do something for you, and maybe that will produce into something that you can get paid for, and you can continue to live the life that you want to live. But as I said before, if you can do what you want to do even on your off hours, then you're already living a God's dream.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Moments of Aha. This is where we want you to understand that nobody is coming to save you. But there is good news because we believe that everything you're searching for is already inside of you. So we bring on guests who have deliberately strengthened these internal traits and qualities that we are all born with. So much so to the point where they've practiced it and they have become superpowers. So today's guest is a woman who stands in her truth and has the courage to share those truths with the world. With a bachelor's in journalism and experience in integrated marketing, Ari has done a broad spectrum of work, including working as a cocktail waitress on the Las Vegas Strip, managing a red carpet event for the billboards, and coordinating media for Halsey's Midnight Summer's Dream. A woman who can do anything she sets her mind to. She decided to spend her last birthday launching her very first book, A God's Dream, which teaches the 25 blessings she learned in her 25 years of life. She shares intimate details of the struggles and hardships she's overcome and how those have helped shape her future. A light worker whose mission is to show the world that no matter how hard life gets, there are an abundance of blessings all around us, and we just have to be open enough to receive them. This woman is an absolute inspiration to all whom she encounters by providing a safe space for people to be authentic and comfortable in their own skin by showing up exactly how she is. I am blessed and honored to have her as our guest today, as this woman has even sparked immense courage inside of me to stop waiting for things to happen and just get out there and do it. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Xiomara Hechavarria.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, it's an honor. It's truly an honor. I could not imagine being anywhere else. That was so beautiful. Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. You're an inspiration to all whom you encounter. I remember seeing your post on your last birthday that you published this book, and I literally ran around the house freaking out, oh my gosh, because I always say one day I'm gonna be an author, and it's
right.
What the hell am I waiting for? This woman just went out there and did it. She just put the words on the paper and published it.
Right.
Such an inspiration.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know what? It was probably one of the best projects to date. I'm 25 years old now, and it's crazy because a lot of people ask me what sparked it, what happened, how did you decide that you wanted to write a book? And like you said, I always wanted to be an author as well, but I never expected it to happen so soon. But I journal frequently, and my thoughts are constantly being put on paper, that I was just you know what, I'm meant to give something to some people, my words. And so from that, I just started writing, and I started creating, and I was able to outsource a cover that was designed so beautifully that I felt even more attached to. So it all just came together perfectly, and it all stemmed just from a spiritual awakening that I had. And from that, I knew that I had a purpose. My passion and my purpose coincided, and with that came power. And so here we are.
That is so cool. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, what was your moment of awakening like? I know it could be some people have it where it's just that one moment where they catch themselves in the mirror and they're can never go back to the way that they were living before.
Right.
Or maybe it's a couple of things that were their moments of awakening. But what was your moment of awakening like?
So mine happened right when quarantine started happening. So a lot of people were starting to get laid off. I was able to work from home, so I saw that as a blessing, but it was just no one had answers. So I was just ready to go and dive within myself for answers. And so it was a lot of meditations, and it was a lot of practicing, just my breathing and things like that. And with that came visualizations and just kind of stepping into my power. I think I went back home to the city that I was born in, and I love my family so much, but I noticed that everyone was just kind of stagnant, and I had never had the mentality where I just wanted to plateau or stay the same. I just wanted to keep going and keep pushing. And I saw every single thing that happened in my life, good or bad, as a blessing. And I was like, and it just all clicked, and I was like, wow, literally, if you are literally powered by God and you know that God is in you, your life is a dream. If you can do what you love, even on your downtime, then that's a dream in itself. And so I was able to kind of put that into perspective, create a book, and that's where God's Dream came from.
Yeah, such a good book. I read through the whole thing. So amazing. I love all of the things that you talked about in that book, and they were just so simple and to the point. And you actually talked about gratitude. You have a whole chapter in your book about gratitude, and it begins, keep it simple, baby, and it ends, gratitude is key. Yes. Short and simple to the point. Tell me, like, how has gratitude helped shape the direction of your life, and why do others need to understand the power that lies behind it?
Oh, absolutely. So for me, gratitude is everything. To really receive the gifts that you're meant to have, you have to be grateful for the ones that you already do. And I feel like now more than ever, a lot of people are not only not being receptive, but they're just looking into the future, and it's so hard to be present and happy where you are at now. And it's completely understandable because a lot of us are in our 20s, we're in our 30s, we're just trying to figure it out, be stable, and like everything's blowing up around us. And for me, just knowing like I'm grateful every single morning, every single night when I go to bed, knowing that I'm grateful for the little things. I'm grateful to be here in this moment. Everything that we're doing, as long as you're grateful, you're on your most optimal timeline, because God will make sure that you have everything that you need because you are happy for what you have. It's so simple, and it's just the easiest practice. Just be thankful. Because life is so short. It's crazy. I woke up this morning and a true shining light, he passed away today, and it just broke my heart. But then as I'm driving over here, I'm just smiling from all the memories of the hiking that we've done, our meditation memories, things that like he shined a light on in my life, and I could not be more thankful because it was meant for us to meet. And I hope to be that shining inspiration for other people as well.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, it's interesting. Gratitude is the highest vibration, right? And when you are constantly exuberating gratitude for where you're at and what you do have, the universe hears you and gives you more things to be grateful for. And so it's so cool that you have that perspective. And even with, I'm sorry to hear that your friend passed away this morning, but just to hear that, on the way over here, you're thinking about shining your light even brighter, because of all those memories that you had with him, and not letting it drag you down to a darker place, but letting it lift you up and helping your light shine brighter, right?
Right.
Very, very cool.
I love definitely meant to be here.
Yeah. So that was one of the superpowers that I have picked out for you, is appreciation. So that kind of goes hand in hand with gratitude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for elaborating on that a little bit more. Also, I wanted to talk about faith. So that's another superpower that we believe in. And, having faith in the Creator, that everything that belongs in your life is making its way to you in divine timing. So how has faith played a role in your success?
So I grew up pretty religious, I want to say, and then as I got to my preteens, my parents kind of gave us free reign to choose what we wanted to believe in. And as I kind of started guiding myself through my life, I noticed that things weren't coincidences. Things were happening if I asked for them, and I knew that wasn't just happening. It was God. And so I started putting my faith into more things, like, hey, I want this to happen. I'm going to say that it's going to happen. I'm going to believe that it's going to happen. I don't know how, when, or why, but if it's meant to happen, it will. And that's exactly what faith is. And so it's played a role in every single thing that I've done. I was telling you earlier, I set an intention to move to Austin, Texas. I didn't know how, when, or why, but I knew in October I was moving to Austin, Texas. And in 2 days, I'm moving into a new place, starting a new job, a completely new life that I'm just completely thankful for. And faith is literally, it's hard because you have to trust. Faith is trust. They go coincide. So I think that faith and gratitude are definitely the biggest things that keep me going, because they are just such high frequencies. And if you can tap into that, you can tap into your highest self, and in turn you get everything you want.
Yeah, definitely. Faith and gratitude are a huge part of my journey as well, and kind of what shaped my my direction and let my light shine, is having that faith and that gratitude constantly. But what it sounds like to me is you create an intention as far as like the trajectory of where you want your life to go.
Right.
And then you kind of just let go and let faith play the role, right? Because you believe that if it's meant to be in your life, it's going to come to you.
100%. That's exactly every single day. And I know it sounds cliche because everyone's like, if it's meant for you, then it's yours. But if you truly want something and you don't get it, that's okay, because it's either building you up for what you truly deserve, or it was never meant for you in the first place. You know, I truly believe that our lives were built out before we came here, and we were meant to fulfill a destiny, and we're here to have a certain life path. And as long as you believe that and you believe in yourself, like, faith is huge, believing in God, but it's also like, trust yourself. Know that you're making the right decisions. Trust your intuition. Set intentions. Like, go in to you, listen to your heart and listen to your mind, and you'll be like solid. You know,
it's very interesting. I always try, you know, I changed my life 2 years ago, and when I started getting involved in all this stuff, I didn't know what I wanted or what direction I was going in. And so what was key for me was to stay open and to start like making like those little goals and those little like ideas or expectations of like where I'm going forward, but staying so open that, you know, whatever is gonna come in that might change my path a little bit, to be open to those things. Because when you're so set on something being so perfect in the way that you have it in your mind, you may be missing so many blessings that are trying to come to you around you.
100%.
So I think it's a big part of like having faith and, you know, creating those intentions of where you want to go, but staying open to what might be even more suited for you.
Yes. And with that comes releasing control, because you have to just let go of the idea of what you think you want and allow the possibilities to open up for you, because there's so much abundance around us and it's ready to give it to us. Like, anything that you desire, but mostly like things that you had no idea that your mind couldn't even process, could be yours as long as you let go. So I totally agree with you. Just be open to all the possibilities.
Yeah, I love that, the act of surrender, right? Surrender is my favorite word.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool. So one other superpower that I have for you is confidence.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me how you found the courage and confidence to publish your own book at 25 years old.
Oh my gosh. You know what? It was me just tapping into the God in me. I never thought about it being anything other than what it was. I just knew it was a project that I was giving to people. It was never about the royalties. It was never about anything other than I knew this was a part of my path to release. And it's crazy because it's turned into this whole lifestyle brand where, like, I know that there's so much more. There's like a YouTube channel, and now, like, I never saw myself as being an entrepreneur because I knew what went into it, and I was so scared and nervous. But like, with stillness of quarantine comes so much transformation. You can literally turn into the person that you want to by just sitting down and listening to your heart. And so I think I was just confident in the fact that I knew that God had more for me than what I was currently doing in my 9-to-5. I knew that God had more for me than being a server on the strip. And so I was ready to tap into that. And here I am, my first podcast. I feel so honored. And, you know, so many things. Like, I have an interview photo shoot tomorrow for an upcoming content creator. Things that I never, like, you would want to happen for your life, but you're just like, I don't know how to get there, you know? Just start. All you have to do is just start, and everything else will fall into place. And I firmly believe that, and I think that's where my confidence comes from, just knowing, like, you were able to start this podcast, and that is unbelievable because you trust yourself, you have faith in yourself, you believe in your highest self, and that's all that matters, because you will literally elevate and keep going because you started. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much, Aria. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's like, you know, we don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it, right? I think execution is huge. You know, I didn't know that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had no clue. And then, you know, quarantine came around, and I had an idea that I wanted to be a yoga teacher before then. But then I started like having stillness to kind of sit with my thoughts and realize, you know, what is it that I really want? And how do I go about getting that? And I try to explain to people that it's interesting to me, because once you're in this faith and in this alignment, things just fall in your lap.
Yes.
But there's a flip side. you have to do the work.
Right.
You know, it's not like you can just sit on the couch and things are coming into your experience. You have to get out there and put yourself in uncomfortable situations.
100%.
You have to be vulnerable. You have to be authentic in your space and get uncomfortable. That's when you begin to grow, and that's when the magic starts to happen.
Yes.
So it's the balance between vulnerability, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and then pure fucking magic.
Right. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. Oh, I feel so blessed to be here. This is so great.
I'm so happy you're here. I know. So Ari's moving in 2 days.
Yes.
This is like her last day in town, and so I had reached out to her because this woman just inspires the hell out of me, and so I was like, please, 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 if you have just a second.
Yes.
On her way, she told me right when she got here, she was like, you know what? When you want things to happen, you make them a priority. You make them a time.
100%.
So thank you for making us a priority.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like your story is going to help a lot of people. So thanks for being here.
Of course.
So I've read your book, obviously.
Yeah.
Loved the book. It was amazing. I read it in like an hour just sitting at a park, and I just like couldn't stop looking through the pages.
I love that.
It was amazing. So one thing is that, do you believe that we are at a turning point collectively? Like as far as, waking up from the matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're at this big turning point. So if you believe that we're in a turning point collectively, and more people are starting to wake up, what are the steps that you're taking to be a part of the change?
So I definitely do believe that we're going through a massive awakening. A lot of people their vibrations are increasing and they're moving to a higher dimension. Mentally, obviously, we're still here, but spiritually and emotionally, a lot of people are waking up to their powers. And I feel like it's hard because we're in a constant state of, we're being presented with a lot of negativity and fear. And so it's keeping people in such low vibrations that they don't want to keep progressing. And so it's a constant battle for me where social media is like where you can connect with the most people, but a lot of people just don't really care to engage right now. And so it's trying to find that happy medium in between still shining light on positivity and bringing light to your platform, but also being able to acknowledge the dualism of life, where life is hard, really hard. It gets dark. None of us really know where we're going, but as long as I can just at least touch someone once a day. So like I started a God Stream Instagram where it doesn't matter where it goes, but when people follow, I just want to bring happiness, awareness. I want it to be very organic. I feel into the collective and I post from my heart, and I kind of just want to keep doing that and then build from there. I want a God Stream to be accessible to everyone. At the end, I want franchises of stores where when you walk into the store, you feel like you're walking into a dream. I want organic skincare, sustainability clothing. I want everything to be beneficial to our higher good, because we have kids. I don't have a kid yet, but all these younger generations, they deserve more. And I feel like that is a part of the awakening, is to know that our next generations deserve so much better. I feel like we're all going through this pain, we're all going through this work so that they can have a better life, and I'm completely fine with that. I'm ready to take on that burden. So
yes, I love that. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I believe that we are spiritual beings, and I believe that we wish ourselves into this physical existence in this time, space, and reality for this, especially in our age group, these 20s and 30s, we're like, we are the leaders. We are the leaders of what's coming next.
Yes.
We are going to have to go through it, and we're going to have to make some hard choices, but what a blessing. How cool is that we showed up here and we chose to be in this experience to change for the better. That is so cool. And
I have goosebumps.
I know.
I'm just like, we really did it. We came here for this reason.
Yes.
It's the true epitome of what being a light worker is. Yes. And it's really hard to have those dialogues with some people because you can't really have those conversations. A lot of people don't know if they're light workers yet. But there's some people where you could just feel their energy and that's the one. We're here doing the same thing. We're meant to be doing this. And
it's interesting because I didn't know I was, a light worker until like 2 years ago when I started to discover spirituality and meditation and, yoga, and got into all these personal development practices and reading self-help books. And then I started to find out, someone read my tarot cards for the first time and they're like, you're a light worker. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means, but okay.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that something inside of me, my whole life, kept just like peeking through. And the best way that I describe it, I don't know if you've read Untamed by Glennon Doyle, but she has this beautiful, it's what stuck with me the most out of the book, this beautiful line, and it says, "Wasn't it supposed to be more beautiful than this?" And that was a question that like I felt on a really intimate, deep level my entire life. Like, what am I doing? Isn't it supposed to be more beautiful than this?
Yeah.
And then, when I changed my life and now I'm like, wow, yeah, it is.
So great.
It is beautiful.
Yes.
Holy shit, people got to know this, you know? And that's why this podcast started, and that's why, Jonathon and I are both spiritual and meditation teachers, and we're just trying to get this information out there because, like, wow, can it be amazing?
Oh, 100%. I just had a conversation yesterday, and it was with someone that I had previously dated, and it was crazy because my energy of just being grateful for the things that he was not grateful for, it was just weird to have that dialogue with someone because they don't really believe in God or anything like that. And before my spirituality, like, the reason I got into spirituality, because you start to question, what is life? Like, what am I meant to do? What is all this going on? Why do we go through all these trials and tribulations? Like, what is the reason? And once you dive deeper into that and you get into that focus, you can really start to realize every little thing is so beautiful. You take everything in for just what it is. This life is so beautiful. I love it. And I couldn't be any better. And like, I'm not even saying that because we all go through such hard things, but life is so, so, so beautiful. And if you can just be happy for that, then,
And I think that's kind of where it comes back to that gratitude, right? Is like being able to like look at the tree and look at the sun and like be like, oh,
love you.
how this is heaven on earth.
100%.
You know?
100%. The moon is my girl.
Oh my God,
I love
Me
her.
too.
I will literally talk to her. I'm like, I love you. You're freaking so beautiful.
Absolutely. I think that's a really interesting thing to bring up because all the women that I talk to, especially the ones who are like woke, have this connection with that moon, man. It's like she speaks to us.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where, I don't know if this is too much information, but my monthly cycle has linked up to the moon.
Are you new moon?
Yes.
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 Yes. I've heard that. That is the thing.
Gosh.
I'm reading Wild Power right now, and I totally believe the more that you start to develop into, you awaken to your highest self, that you start to correlate with her cycle and your cycle, and that's so interesting. Do you know about the red tent? Have you heard about the red tent?
No.
So women, back in the day, we all used to have our periods at the same time. Same week, same time, and we'd all go to the red tent. And so all of these women would come together on their periods, and we would like take time to reflect and like talk and hang out and like, meditate and give each other massages and like just fucking embracing the divine beauty of what it means to be a woman. And how cool, man. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Cool. Yeah, there's power in that for sure.
Absolutely. I'm reading this book called Wild Power right now. I'm only a couple of chapters in, but talks a lot about the cycles and how to harness the power of your cycle and your period, and the ovulation, and when you're from a point in ovulation, that's your time to turn kind of like inwards and reflect. And then once you have your period and you're on that flip side coming back to ovulation, those 2 weeks is when you like need to just get out there and like show the world. Like you just got to get out there and push it. So really interesting. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love to hear that.
Yeah, really cool. I love all that stuff. Let's do a little segue here. You talk about journaling a lot in your book and how it allows you a space to be vulnerable and work through your thoughts. So talk to me a little bit about how this outlet helps shape the woman you've become.
Absolutely. So I want to say that I started really journaling in 2017, maybe end of 2016. And it was more of just like an outlet because at this time I didn't really have too many spiritual people around me where I could have these conversations. And I was going through an ascension process where I could feel my body aching, but there was nothing wrong. And so I started kind of doing some research, and it was like chakra pains. Like I would just be feeling my body like upgrading itself. And so I would write it down because I'm like, I'm not going to forget about this. My dreams would get more vivid. So I would write them down every morning when I would wake up because there's so many just hints and tips that the universe is giving you when you least expect it. So if I have a journal to look back on that on, I'm like, wow, I really came from here, like blossomed and grew and transformed into a freaking butterfly. It's insane. And so I use journaling for a few things. The biggest thing is probably manifesting. If there's something that I really, really want, I will make sure to write it down. And once I write it down, then from there I can kind of release. But it's also like a good just way of letting go, you know, like letting go of your feelings, because I never try to take things personally, but if there's a situation that you encounter and you're not really sure how to deal with it, or how, I'm not a confrontational person, so I'm not really going to have an argument with someone about it. Just going to put my feelings on the paper, let it like kind of work its way through me, and then I'll go from there, you know? And so I think journaling is a really, really important and imperative hobby to have, because it's an outlet. And you need that kind of outlet, you know?
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I totally agree. I love journaling. When I started to change my life, that's something that it all kind of started with this journal, and it's like one of my prized possessions. It's like the documents the first year of my life, where you literally, the woman who started that journal is not the woman who ended that journal, and it's just like, how cool. And when I go into a journal session, I like to say that I start my journal with a question, and I usually end with an answer, meaning that like I go in with all these heightened emotions and all these like, what the fuck, why is this happening to me, right? And I have this place to be able to like retreat inwards, and you know, work through these emotions that I'm having. And it's interesting because like the first half of the journal entry is like, you know, woe is me, I'm a victim, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, you know what? The fuck, I could have done that so differently. Like, what was my role? It takes two to tango. Like, how did I play a part in this situation, you know? 100%. And my highest self is able to come out, and I'm able to release the toxicity of whatever's going on internally. And then I'm able to, like, allow space for beauty to come in, and for light to come in, and 100%. To take ownership of, like, my part in the situation, and to see from another point of view. And, so journaling's huge.
It is. It really is. And it's important for you to have those self-reflections, because we all are meant to have that other person, and for you to be doing that inner work behind closed doors and really figuring out your emotional health and what makes you tick, you can bring that into a relationship, and you're not only like, you're not finding your other half, you're finding your other whole. You guys are meant to be together, but they are their own person, you are your own person. You both did the work, and you're meant to come together and be, you know, it's great. I really recommend journaling. And similar to what you said, where you kind of like start off the journal, it's about you, it's more about the ego, and then after that is removed, your highest self taps in, and it's like, calm down, you know, everything's good, and you're like, you know what, you're right. And it's funny because it's all your dialogue. I love it.
It's really cool though, allowing that space to you know, release and then receive.
Yes.
So I love that that you talk about journaling in your book, and it's just a huge outlet. It's one of the tools that we're trying to highlight for people, amongst many other tools, because we believe that everyone's journey looks very, very different.
Right.
But we believe the tools are the same. And so if we can highlight everybody using their tools in their own perception and their own reality, we're hoping that, you know, our listeners can find a way to integrate it into their lives.
Yes. All the above.
Check it out.
Just try it for a little bit.
Just try it out. Why not? So a lot of people out here are having a really difficult time just in life in general. It's a very interesting time in our day and age. So what is one bit of advice or encouragement you have for them to help them get unstuck?
Unstuck. Oh, it's a really good question, because I feel like life is going to be hard. You know, you have to really acknowledge the yin and yang in life. Take some rain with your sunshine and keep going. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, just keep going. And I feel like being stuck it's almost like a mentality. It's hard because it's all really relative, because you really never know what someone's going through. But honestly, it's just hard to say, because you never want to get to the end of your life wishing that you did more, you know, and there's nothing that you can do about that. Time just goes, and just each day do something for you. And maybe that will produce into something that, you know, you can get paid for, and, you know, you can continue to live the life that you want to live. But as I said before, if you can do what you want to do, even on your off hours, and you're already living a God's dream, that's just how it is. So I think just remember that you don't want to get to the end of your life wishing you did more. So just do it today. Start loving today. Yourself, the self-love is so important. Once you build that in yourself, then you won't be stuck because you know you're good. You know, with self-love comes rest. Don't feel like when you're resting, you're stuck. A lot of people needed this quarantine to cocoon and just build into who they needed to be. So if you feel like you're stuck, tap into yourself, do the inner work, and you'll be released.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it really does all kind of boil down to self-love, right? It all comes back to that. And, you know, it begins with owning your reality. And that means, like, taking a look around you and realizing that, like, maybe it's hard a fact to face, but your decisions have led you to where you are.
100%.
And you need to own that first. And with that comes loving all of those parts of yourself and all of those decisions that you've made that's led you to this point. And then get this immense overwhelming power because you love where you're at and you've accepted where you're at, and now you understand that, like, your decisions lead you to where you're 100%. Going. So owning that reality, loving yourself and where you're at is where it all begins. And then it's interesting to see how it kind of unfolds after.
Yes, I love to hear that. We all have free will, so yeah, make your decisions wisely, for sure.
Absolutely. You know, you've talked a couple of times about the duality of life and the yin and the yang, and I love to talk about that stuff because it's very interesting, and because it's not always rainbows and butterflies. And the experiences that you go through, whether they're good or bad, that is your perception of them. Because the worst things that happen to you could be the biggest blessings if you're willing to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. And so you mentioned a little bit earlier about Instagram or social media, and how it really is a double-edged sword because it can be used as such a beautiful blessing for people to get out there and show themselves their authentic selves and be super vulnerable and, like, get the information out there, like what you're trying to do on your platform. And it can also be really used harmfully where, you make it seem like you have this perfect, beautiful life and, no one could ever be as awesome as you are. And so talk to me a little bit about how duality, how you believe that it's important and how to embrace both sides of the coin.
Yeah, absolutely. So with social media specifically, like you said, it's such a beautiful platform and a lot can come out of it, but with that comes comparison and, like, it's all based on likes, which people probably like it, but they don't care to actually like it, So it's just removing yourself from the situation and kind of, like, not having attachment to other people's emotions or their actions, and that's what makes it hard about social media is because it's just such a glorified platform where you kind of it's an interesting it's hard. It really is. And I really do support when people take, like, listen, I need a social media break, or you know what, it's just not doing it for me right now. And that is okay. Trust and believe that. Come back to social media when you are living your light, because that's when it's the best. But for me, the, like, dualism and two sides of the coin, it's what life is, it's, you can't have one without the other. You wouldn't know fear without love, and you won't know pain without, happiness. And so being able to acknowledge both of those, like, for example, if God only made love, we wouldn't know that it was love because it would be the only thing that it is. And so being able to acknowledge that you have these emotions, that God wanted you to have all of these things. So enjoy each experience, even though it's going to be painful and it's going to hurt, but it was meant for you. So that's just how I go about it.
Yeah. And, we came here to experience the limitless of what we are. And so that means in order to understand how unconditionally we are filled with love, we have to understand that there's also pain and resentment and anger. And, you can't understand compassion without suffering.
Exactly.
And so are you able to be the watcher of your thoughts in those moments and allow the experience to come in, but don't let it hold control over you.
Exactly.
And, try to look at the bigger picture, and this always comes back to gratitude, right? How can you make this experience something that you're grateful for, because you understand that, like, it wouldn't be in your experience if it wasn't meant for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're getting this out there to people, because It's important. It's imperative for everyone to hear this. And if they have heard it, it's good to hear it again and really sit in your thoughts and think about everything that we're saying, because that's how you start to ascend and become the light worker that you're meant to be. Everyone's really waking up, and it's important that we just start. It's time.
Yeah,
it's just time.
Yeah,
so.
And it's contagious, right?
Yes.
You start to wake up, and then those around you, without even having to push anything on them, they start to wake up, and it's we're changing the world.
Yes,
we are here to change the world, and I believe that our generation is going to be the leaders of what that change looks like. And so it's absolutely imperative to get this information out there for people who are beginning to wake up or people who already have woken up, because repetition is huge. I've read the same couple of books like multiple times because it's like I take something different from it every single time.
Right.
And at one point in my life, I'm like, this really stuck with me. But then the next time I read it, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even hear that the first time. And so repetition is huge. And though people may have heard of these tools or understand all of these truths, but to hear them again and let them sit with you and really ingrain in your soul and realize that everything we're telling you, you already know. This is not news to you, because your highest self has already known that these are universal truths. And so if it resonates, like, remember, we're just reminding you.
Yes. Yes. Right place at the right time.
Absolutely. So one thing that we'll close up after this is, if you could choose an internal strength or superpower for yourself, what would it be?
It would be the ability to give my happiness to others. I think I'm definitely my purpose is not only to give to people, but to shine my light. And I wish it was that easy to just be like, here's like a piece of my happiness, without draining myself, of course. But I just know a lot of people that are going through so many things, and there's only so many things that I can say. Like, I can give you my energy and I can give you my aura, but if I could just give you a piece of my light, physically put it into yours so I know that you're retaining it, that would make me so happy, because I know how many people I'm touching. And I think that would probably be my strength, and I'm gonna do what I can to make that happen, intangibly or even tangibly. I'm going to make it happen. So she's already there. The superpower is already inside me. I'm just gonna figure out how to, in this realm, in this dimension, really make it work.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Guys, Ari is absolutely amazing. This woman is just a bright, shining light. Anyone who is around her has the pleasure of knowing her is just so blessed by her overwhelming, joyful attitude and loving light. So we really appreciate her hopping on today and sharing some awesome universal truths with you guys. Where can people find you, Ari?
Absolutely. So let's do Instagram. You can either do A God's Dream, or you can find me, Xiomara Hechavarria, which either or I'll connect with everyone on both. And I will be starting a YouTube channel, so Xiomara Hechavarria. We're going to really tap into hidden blessings of everything in life. So, come connect. I'd love to see you guys.
Yeah, very cool. And don't forget, we'll have a link underneath the video to purchase her book, A God's Dream, on Amazon. And make sure you follow her and keep up with her story, because she's just absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love you so much, girl. Thanks so much for making it on here.
For having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And until next time, everybody, continue to align with your inner hero. Bye, guys.
Love you.